Welcome to In the Glow, and this week we're going to do things a little differently. We're going to go over some of the things that are trending in the headlines right now for skincare, kind of give you the gist of whether or not they're a good thing to do for skin. But before we get into that, I'm Desiree Stordahl. I'm the Senior Research and Education Manager here at Paula's Choice.
And I'm Shealeigh Heindel. I am the Product Education Specialist here at Paula's Choice.
We also happen to just be big-time beauty junkies ourselves between skincare and makeup and devices and checking everything else out there. And I also write for Beautypedia, so I get the privilege of testing products from everything from a night cream to blushes and mascaras, so we can get into skincare and cosmetics on today's episode.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. So why don't we jump in with microcurrent devices? This is not a real new trend. Microcurrent devices have been around for a while, but it's something that we're just seeing a resurgence of and something we're getting asked by you guys about. So essentially, they are sending electric stimulation into muscles. The interesting thing about what they're doing is your facial muscles don't really need muscle stimulation. They are one of the most used muscles in the body. Every expression you have and do is tied to those muscles. And when you think about what Botox does, it's actually paralyzing those muscles. Not that electric stimulation is something that would be troublesome or worrisome, because it's different than your face actually doing expressions where you're getting those etched lines. But the research just isn't real clear on whether or not it's really helping with things like firmness, sagging, wrinkles, which are a lot of the claims that you'll see from those devices. What I did find is there is some research behind wound healing, but that would be in a controlled setting, in a medical setting, so not the same as what you would be using from like a handheld device that you do at home. So the jury's kind of still out on whether or not they are that beneficial. I will tell you this, they're expensive if you're doing one of those handheld devices. And some people may see results. If you look online, the reviews are really mixed on whether or not they really delivered for people. So I'm not saying they won't work, but I will say they're not backed by research yet for a lot of those claims that people say they can do.
Are they harmful?
Not harmful. You don't have to worry about it. And like I said, you might see a subtle difference in skin. If you have extreme sagging, extreme wrinkles, it's not going to get rid of them completely. And if you think about it, all of the things that age your skin, between sun damage, bone loss, when your bone loss starts to happen and your skin is still growing, you get that sagging. So essentially, you don't have the scaffolding to help with all that skin sagging. And then there's also fat pads that shift. So there are a number of factors that go into all of those things, gravity itself taking its toll. So I wouldn't depend on a microcurrent device to be the end all be all. Is it gonna hurt? No, maybe just your pocketbook if it doesn't work out. So long answer to say, could, but maybe not.
Stick with retinol and sunscreen.
Yes, stick with the tried and true. I mean, that is the truth. Like, sun damage is probably the number one way you're aging your skin, and in terms of sagging and all of that stuff. So stick to the tried and trues, and if you wanna try an extra device, you can, but again.
Proceed with caution.
Proceed with caution. Yes, okay, so that was a very long answer. Let's go on to your topic next.
There has been some interesting new media around using tea tree oil to address razor burn. So I can see from a standpoint, tea tree does in some ways has antibacterial properties, antimicrobial, and it can help with inflammation. But if you're using pure 100% tea tree essential oil, that stuff is strong. So if you are applying that directly onto an irritated area, like an area experiencing razor burn, you might actually experience more redness, more irritation.
Stinging.
Right. You could dilute it, but then you're going the extra step into making your own sort of body treatment. Whereas if you stick with something like salicylic acid, that is going to give you the same calming and soothing benefits. You've already got it in some great formulas, like with our Weightless Body 2% BHA lotion, or if you've got really, really stubborn areas of razor burn or even ingrown hairs, using our BHA 9. again, getting that anti-inflammatory benefit. You're getting the calming and soothing without any of the potential irritation from the fragrance or just the pure essential oil itself.
And something, this isn't necessarily to do with razor burn, but something I've noticed is when I do consistently use our weightless body treatment with 2% BHA, because it is exfoliating off all those dead built up skin cells on my legs, I actually get a better shave because the razor is not having to compete with that build up dead skin. So you're kind of getting a 2-in-1 benefit from it there if you're using it, you know, for a consistent basis to keep the dead skin away, and then also to help with things like razor burn.
Right, and making sure that you're using something that's not going to irritate the skin. Something like salicylic acid, if you're using it after hair removal, shaving, waxing, it can help prevent ingrown hairs as well. So you're getting prevention as well as addressing current concerns.
Not to mention, it's just really nice for all those rough, like your knees, your elbows, your heels, all those places that need a little extra exfoliation. It's really nice to use on those areas.
Absolutely.
Okay, so another crazy, this is crazy to me, thing that came up was I just saw a story about ice rollers. So a lot of you guys have seen the jade rollers and those sorts of things, and we've talked about them on here before. But in this particular article, they were promoting a particular type of facial roller, and they actually were telling you to store it in the freezer.
I've seen that before.
Some articles, I've seen other people say, like, okay, just pop it in the freezer and then use it. This one was literally saying, keep it stored in the freezer, then put it over your skin to help with puffiness, redness. You do not want to put something on your skin that has been stored in the freezer. It can literally burn the skin in a different way than heat does. But the cold, just anytime you're doing something that extreme to skin, it causes inflammation. Inflammation, we know, is the root of all evil when it comes to skin problems, especially if you have sensitive skin. You don't want to do that. You can put rollers or even your skincare products in the fridge for like a tiny bit. I wouldn't suggest storing them in the fridge, but let's say, you know, you have an eye cream and you want to pop it in the fridge for a couple minutes and then apply it because you like that cool feeling. That is totally fine to do. We also have our anti-aging eye gel, which has this cooling metal applicator that actually helps the product feel cool on skin without using cooling type of irritating ingredients. And then you can just rock that back and forth on your under eye area to break up fluid retention, that kind of puffiness. So you could absolutely use something like this, whether you pop it in the fridge for a couple minutes or just use it straight room temperature as it is. That cooling metal applicator will give you that kind of effect without hurting your skin.
Right. I know anything that kind of shocks your skin, that's your skin's response saying, maybe not quite, maybe slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, like people, you know, interpret things like a tingling feeling to think that that means the product's working. We know that's a sign of inflammation. That's a red flag. You don't want to do that.
Awesome. Well, next, this is one that we're not going to naysay, but we've got a trend that I think is going to stick around for a little while, and that is the dewy skin look. You've heard us talk about our Essential Glow from the Defense line as giving you that lit from within, radiant, or in my opinion, dewy cherub angel baby look. You can capture these really beautiful ethereal glow type aesthetic using makeup, yes, but more and more skincare is helping you capture that glow. Starting with sunscreen, it's a great option, or you can even do it using something like a non-fragrant plant oil. So our Moisture Renewal Oil Booster has 9 different non-fragrant nourishing plant oils, and you can dab it, maybe use it as a highlighter. You like to mix it in with your blush.
I
use
do.
it that way, so you can go from a powder to almost like a cream blush. But it just gives your skin that really plumped up, radiant, dewy finish that a lot of people are looking for these days. So makeup and skincare.
Yeah, it's like there was the dewy skin trend, the glass skin trend, the dewy dumpling skin. There are all of these just, you know, just kind of that radiant skin. And I do love that it's transitioned over from makeup to finding ways to do it with your skin. And with even things like our 2% BHA that just kind of helps bring out your skin's natural glow by getting rid of that built up dead skin. There are so many ways you can pull it off naturally. Looks like we have a question.
We have a question which is the Defense Moisturizer okay for combination skin?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about preference, right? So all of the products in the Defense line, including the Essential Glow Moisturizer, are for all skin types. But if you've got combination skin and you prefer something a little more lightweight, then it might feel a little too heavy, or if you want something with a little more hydration, it might not feel quite hydrating enough. But I think it strikes the balance that's perfectly right there in the middle, depending on what your skin needs based on season and based on your overall skin type.
Oh my gosh, before we move on, can you do a close-up of your nails? I just noticed those.
Oh, yes. Don't mind the swatches on my hand playing around.
So
but they've
cute.
got little dewy drops. How on brand.
Unlike mine that I'm shipping off polish under the table as we speak. Good, not good. On trend, not on trend. Okay, before we go to more questions, I have one more product to talk about really quickly. This is not a skincare product, and it's not even something we review on Beautypedia, but like I said earlier in the show, I happen to be a beauty junkie and I just like testing all kinds of things. And I have had my eye on magnetic eyeliner to go with magnetic lashes for a while now, and I finally bit the bullet and bought some. And I have to say, I like it a lot. I've been using it for close to 3 weeks now. And all you do is you put it on like you would a regular eyeliner. I happen to like to put my regular eyeliner on first so I can get the exact shape I want, and like my crazy cat eye that I sometimes do. And then all I need to do is just a really thin swipe of this eyeliner, and then give it a couple of minutes to dry, go back in and do one more just so that you have enough of a layer on there for the magnetic lashes to adhere to. So you let it dry again, but it just makes lashes so easy. So the magnets are actually on the lash strip. They're little magnets if you've never tried magnetic lashes before, and then they just adhere to that magnetic eyeliner. The magnetism is coming from the iron oxides in the formula.
I'm curious. I'm a total noob. What would have caused the magnet? What would make it stick to your lash line before using the liner?
Nothing. Well, the other magnetic lashes, they would have another
Together?
set. Yeah, so there would be like the top set of lashes and then a bottom set that would kind of click together. So now that's eliminating that step. And then this just happens to be from a local company here in Washington State called Tory Bell Cosmetics, but Ardell sells their own magnetic eyeliner. Tons of other companies do. But the Tory Bell line, I noticed, just launched a magnetic mascara.
Oh.
So you could do it instead of the eyeliner. I have not tried that yet, so I can't testify to the results on that. But I will say this one's really easy to use. You can reuse the lashes multiple times. I've probably used mine close to 20 times at this point. I did trim mine because I find even with just regular glue lashes, when they come really close into the corner for me, they tend to lift and just bother my eyes. So I trim mine just to really be on that outer corner. So it kind of gives you that winged out look. But
Is that what you're wearing right now?
I've got them on right
They look
now.
really good.
And I've chose the most natural set. You can get, way more dramatic than this, but I chose the set that's called 9 to 5. So it's a very natural look. But super easy to use. Honestly, all you have to do is just line them up with where you put the eyeliner and then they're done.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm a convert. Try it out.
Okay, more questions.
What do you say about wearing oils during the day? Don't oils attract the sun? Which is like what people used to do with baby oil to tan.
Well, if you're using oils during the day, hopefully you're using sunscreen as your last step.
Right.
So you're then protected from all the elements. I guess if you're asking if you're using it without sunscreen, then yeah, that is a problem. And it would be the same as like putting baby oil on your skin to tan. It is going to magnify that response and the UV ray damage that you're going to get. So just protect yourself with sunscreen as your last step and then you'll be good.
Next question is, how long should you wait after applying BHA 9 to apply the next product?
You can go in right away after applying that BHA 9. If you want to give it maybe 30 seconds to soak in, go right ahead. But it's got such a nice hydrating finish that if you're waiting for it to soak all the way in before your next product, you might be waiting a little long.
Yeah, I like to use mine and then right after I use it, I actually go in with our azelaic acid booster, which has a different texture, and apply it right on over it. And I almost feel like that helps seal it in a little bit. So when I have a particularly stubborn blemish, that is what I do.
Good call.
Yes. And I forgot to announce at the beginning of the show, it looks like you guys are writing in with your questions, but we want to take questions whether or not it has to do with skincare trends or anything we've talked about, any skin concerns that you guys have. We are happy to answer them in the next few minutes before we wrap.
We're doing this at a different time than usual too, so maybe our usuals aren't popping up.
So someone's asking, the last time they used 2% BHA liquid, they really broke out, but they want to add it back into their regime. And so how would you recommend that they do that?
So if you were using the 2% BHA liquid every single day, you could try and decrease the frequency of use. It'll still work even if you can only get it into your routine every other day or maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Your other option, though, is that you could try a 2% BHA maybe in one of our gel or lotion formulas so that it's not that really fast and quick absorption that you'll get from the liquid form. It'll work a little more slow and steady. Or you could even decrease it a little bit more and try the 1% from the Calm line. So I say decrease frequency of use or try a different gel or lotion form.
Yeah, and I would be interested to know if it was their first time using a BHA product or not. Some people, I mean, most people can use it and respond really well, but it could be that you're just a person who doesn't respond well to it. Or for somebody new to BHA, there are occasional people who go through what's called a purging phase, where basically that BHA is bringing that mass exodus of oil and dead skin and depleting, getting rid of it, but it's also taking anything that was really deeply rooted, any deeply rooted clogs, kind of just bringing them up to the surface. So you might notice that for a couple weeks, and then once that's done, then your skin's on the right path and it's gonna keep it clear and you won't have those issues anymore. So I guess if it was your first time trying a BHA, trying to get through that 2-week phase to see what happens. But it may not be for you, and then you might want to try AHA and see if your skin responds better to that.
And we have another question about BHA, which is how often can you use the BHA? Can you use it twice a day?
Absolutely. Yeah, as long as your skin can handle it, go right ahead. I think most people shoot for at least once a day, but if you've got really stubborn pore congestion or your skin just really responds better to it twice a day, go ahead and do it that way, as long as you're, again, using that sunscreen every single morning, at least SPF 30, so that you're getting that really good protection.
Yeah, I generally find once a day does the trick for me, and I'm somebody who does have very breakout prone skin, but just that once a day, I generally do it at night, works for me, but like you said, if you have more stubborn concerns, you can bump it up to twice a day.
Yeah, or you could apply it twice a day just in the areas that you are prone to that pore congestion, or maybe once just all over.
Next question is an oil-based product okay for blemish-prone skin?
I would say yes. It depends on the oil-based product. And it also depends on where you're applying it. So for me, I love using our Moisture Renewal Oil Booster, but I don't use it in my blemish-prone areas. I don't use it in my T-zone where I've already got enough oil. I use it under my eyes and on my cheeks. But in terms of maybe just a normal moisturizer formula that has oil in it, that can still be fine for your skin. It just really depends on how rich it is, how occlusive it is. So it's really a matter of kind of checking and seeing what your skin does well with.
Yeah, absolutely. Steering clear of those really heavy emollient oil-based products is going to be different than just using something really lightweight in the areas that might be needing a little bit more moisture or hydration.
And what would be the one product you'd recommend for someone who is 50 plus?
Ooh, one. Okay, you pick one and I'll pick one.
Oh man. Well, knowing nothing else about somebody's routine, I would say a leave-on exfoliant. So either AHA or BHA. I know we talk about it all the time, but as we get older, our skin has a harder and harder time turning over that dead skin on the surface of our face. So we need a little extra boost in doing that. 2% BHA is a good standby because it is calming and soothing, redness reducing. But if you are seeking that glow-getting, hydrated finish, then I would say AHA might be a better option. Either way, you can't go wrong. So that would be the one tried and true, I think, product for anybody, regardless of age, but especially if you're 50 plus.
And then Paula would slap us across the face if we didn't say sunscreen.
I know. It killed me not to say sunscreen.
That's okay. We're gonna assume she's already using, she or he is already using sunscreen. So then the exfoliant and sunscreen aside, I will come in and say retinol is one of those tried and true. So much research behind it as an anti-aging ingredient. We have all different kinds of concentrations at Paula's Choice. Our 1% clinical treatment of retinol is really popular, especially for somebody in that age range who is really wanting to target the advanced signs of sun damage and aging. So I would say a retinol product.
Good choice.
Yes. Next question.
Do vitamin C and AHA or BHA cancel each other's effects out when they're used together?
Not at all.
Nope, you don't have to worry about them canceling each other out. They're not going to deactivate one another. In fact, I feel like they work better together. So, especially in terms of exfoliation, anytime you're exfoliating your skin with a chemical exfoliant that's gently doing it, those other ingredients can penetrate better. They can better absorb in, so you're going to get more efficacy out of the products that you're using just by already prepping skin with that exfoliant.
Agreed.
Next question is, if someone has dry, sensitive skin, what products can they use to help with blocked comedones on the cheeks?
Do you think that 1% BHA lotion from the Calm line?
Yeah, I would say start with that one. So Calm 1% BHA. If you know that your skin can handle something a little bit stronger, maybe do the 2% BHA lotion. And then in maybe spring, summer months, if you don't want something in that lotion formula, that'll give you the flexibility to move into the gel or liquid realm. And then if you just have really stubborn areas of pore congestion, you can spot treat with BHA 9.
And I always like to tell people when they have that type of issue, try niacinamide as well.
Yeah.
Our 10% niacinamide booster does a really good job of just normalizing that pore lining. So where you're getting that blockage and that congestion, it's kind of just able to reshape things back into the size and function that they should have. So I would couple those two together.
Yeah, good call.
And niacinamide's a well-tolerated ingredient for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a question about what's the best anti-aging product to use with 2% BHA and niacinamide booster?
Other than sunscreen, which is a broken record. Other than sunscreen, I would say retinol.
Retinol's really good. It's hard to pick a best.
Right.
There's so many great ingredients out there.
Antioxidants.
And it also depends on what you're trying to target. So let's say maybe you're somebody who wants to target discolorations that have come along with sun damage and aging. Then vitamin C is going to be really great. So it just, peptides are really great for firmness. So each of our boosters kind of has its own targeted thing that it addresses, even though they're all multifaceted formulas. So, peptides for firmness, retinol for overall anti-aging, vitamin C for that brightening effect, niacinamide, as we said, for pores. It also helps with wrinkles. So if you go on our website, it does a pretty good job of breaking out which particular ingredient works for which function.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you can take the routine finder test as well. That'll
Yes.
help recommend the best serums, treatments, boosters, as well as the rest of your routine for you based on your concerns and your skin type.
Yeah, and that routine finder quiz is really nice for anybody who just is starting out in skincare and they might not even know what their skin type is, or you're just kind of at a loss because there's so many products out there. So you can have the option of, pared down to essential routine or a more advanced routine, depending on which way you want to go. But it'll really just help you get on the right path. We also happen to have the best client services team who will give you a free consultation over the phone. So you tell them, what your skin type is, what your skin concerns are, and they can really set you up with the right set of products. So I would almost say go that route before the skincare quiz, just because our staff here is so knowledgeable. They've been trained by Paula herself. A lot of them are estheticians and have a really extensive background in skincare.
Yeah, and they're not commission-based too, so they're not going to push anything on you if you don't need it or want it.
Okay, we've got a question about the Resist Clear Skin Hydrator and whether that is more hydrating than the Clear Oil-Free Moisturizer.
I feel like it's a tad richer than the oil-free moisturizer from the Clear line. So if you guys couldn't hear the question, it's whether or not the Clear Anti-Aging Skin Hydrator or not the Clear Anti-Aging Skin Hydrator. Well, actually, that is
Clear Skin Hydrator, the anti-aging Clear Skin Hydrator.
Thank you.
Versus the Clear Oil-Free Moisturizer. I would say the Clear Skin Hydrator and the Resist for Normal to Oily Skin line is just like very slightly more rich.
Yeah.
But they're both going to give you a really lightweight, replenishing gel cream finish. But I would say the Clear Skin Hydrator from the Resist line is a bit more of a robust formula. So you're getting a little bit more of those skin restoring ingredients, if that helps anybody make their decision a little bit more easily.
And just like we have the best client services team, we also have the best return policy. So if you try something, say one of those moisturizers, and you just don't love the texture of it, we will refund your money or exchange it or help you find the right thing. So you never have to worry about that with our line. We're really out there to help get you the right products, no matter the cost to us. We really want to make it right for you. And I think we have time for maybe one more question. Okay.
Can you use a retinol treatment, our retinol treatment around the eye area as well?
Okay, so the question is, can you use our retinol treatment around the eye area as well? I would say up to the orbital bone.
Yep. Just around. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to put it directly on your eyelid, especially when you're getting into the 1%. So like the 1% retinol booster, the clinical 1% retinol treatment, those are pretty strong. If you are a diehard, I need it on my eyelid sort of person, maybe just mix it in with your eye cream.
I just wouldn't do it on the
eyelid. I know, I was like, but I just wouldn't recommend it in the first place. I mean, gravity's gonna do its thing. If you put it up around your orbital bone all the way 360, then it'll almost, as your skin warms it up, it'll almost kind of wiggle it down where it needs to go on the eyelid. So
I like
bone.
to buffer it too with the Moisture Renewal Oil Booster. So you could either mix that oil in with it, or you could apply the oil first and then the retinol product over it. It'll just kind of help soften what could end up being a little bit of sensitization for people, just because it is such a potent ingredient, especially at that 1% concentration. Okay, guys, that is the end of today's show. Thank you for your great questions. And as always, let us know what you want us to talk about next. So DM us and just keep us up to date with what you want to hear.